It was going well. Space belonged to them. The Earth attack force had landed, spreading like an unstoppable cancer, consuming continent after continent, country after country, city after city. Xeon seemed maybe the Federation had made a mistake. Maybe they shouldn't have listened to the old man Revel. Maybe his claim that Xeon was exhausted had been nothing more than a desperate bluster, the ramblings of a war-hungry madman. But they had listened. They kept fighting. They resisted, even in the face of overwhelming force. They fought, and they planned. They planned their counterattacks. Their plan to build their own weapons. They planned to forge a ray of hope. Xeon caught wind of a rumor, a dangerous one. Whispers spread that the Earth Federation was developing something that could turn the tide against them. This rumor soon became reality. Xeon forces began encountering mobile suits much like their own Zaku's, but these machines were superior in every way. There weren't many of these gun mobile suits, and most sightings were concentrated around the American continent. Some units on Earth refused to believe they existed, dismissing them as propaganda meant to sow fear. But these machines were very real, and wherever they appear, they left behind nothing but death and destruction. High Command wasted no time. They immediately sent out tenders to both Zionic and Zimad, ordering the development of a new mobile suit capable of countering this growing threat. Zionic had the advantage. By this point, they had been producing mobile suits for nearly a year. The Zaku 2 was already a proven design, and Zionic had been developing countless variants since the war began. Instead of designing an entirely new mobile suit from scratch, Zionic decided to evolve a platform that already worked. To defeat this new Federation threat, Zionic determined that a new mobile suit had to excel in one area: close combat. Using the Zaku 2 ground type as the base, they developed the YMS-07A prototype Gouf. The Zaku was completely overhauled. The armor was redesigned and replaced with a lighter composite material to increase mobility. The joints were reinforced to handle increased power output, further enhancing maneuverability. The head was replaced with a brand new model, featuring a blade antenna, typically reserved for units with enhanced sensors, and a 360-degree rotating mono eye rail, improving pilot awareness, especially in urban and forested environments where visibility was crucial. Zionic likely expected stiff competition from Zima, having already been defeated by them in amphibious suit competition. However, Xeon unexpectedly transferred Zimad's prototype to Zionic. It was then that Zionic discovered that Zimad had bowed out of the project, at least for now. Seizing the opportunity, Zionic incorporated select technologies from Zimad's prototype and developed the MS-07A Gouf, the pre-production model. The pre-production model did not differ significantly from the prototype, but the 360-degree eye rail system was removed, likely for simplification purposes. By this stage, Zionic had completed the Gouf's primary weapon, the Type Beta 4 Heat Sword. The Heat Sword was arguably the most powerful melee weapon of its time. It functioned similar to a Heat Hawk, but it was easier to store and more powerful. In later battles against Federation mobile suits, the Heat Sword proved capable of cutting through Luna titanium armor. While producing the MS-07A, Zionic was also testing an alternate prototype featuring integrated weaponry. This led to the development of the YMS-07B-0 prototype Gouf, which served as a feasibility test for what would later become the Gouf's iconic weapon systems. A total of 32 units were built for field testing, and the results were promising. With no active competitors at the time, Xeon officially selected the Gouf as the next generation mobile suit. For now. Mass production was approved, and Zionic revised the mobile suit for its final configuration. Designed for close quarters combat, the suit was equipped with 75mm machine guns integrated into the fingers of his left hand. The design allowed it to keep his hand free for melee weapons without sacrificing too much in terms of range combat. Another new weapon was integrated into the right arm, the heat rod. This retractable cable functioned as a whip, providing the Gouf with extended reach. It could conduct a high voltage current to damage the internal systems of enemy units and potentially incapacitate their pilots. Additionally, the cable could be superheated, effectively turning into a flexible heat saber capable of cutting or melting through armor. While these modifications significantly enhanced the Gouf's versatility in combat, they also presented logistical challenges. Zionic had to allocate production lines for these specialized weapons, and field mechanics required additional training to maintain them, complicating supply chains and slightly increasing maintenance times. Despite these challenges, the final specifications were approved, and the MS-07B Gouf entered mass production. The Gouf's battlefield performance was immediately apparent. It was a significant upgrade over the Zaku II, posing a serious threat even to the Federation's new gun mobile suits, particularly in the hands of a skilled pilot. However, the Gouf had limitations. Its highly specialized close combat design meant that only pilots proficient in melee combat could fully utilize its potential, and such pilots were uncommon. Additionally, its focus on close-range engagements limited its effectiveness in range combat, making it less suited for serving as a universal replacement for the ground forces. In response, either on their own initiative or at the urging of High Command, Zionic quickly developed multiple Gouf variants to address different combat scenarios. The first variant, the C3 Gouf Heavy Arms type, was designed for range combat. Both arms were replaced with a larger 85mm machine gun integrated into the fingers, and a smaller 30mm machine gun was mounted in the head for engaging lighter and smaller targets. Zionic also developed a tropical variant, the MS-07F Gouf Hunter, intended for desert and jungle operations. While visually similar to the standard Gouf, it likely featured upgraded filters and more resilient seals to withstand harsher environments. The heat rod was also removed, likely to prevent debris from jamming its housing. Additionally, the Hunter was equipped with an extra knife, grenades, and a new handgun that fired gel bullets designed to slow down enemy units upon impact. Zionic also developed two Gouf variants designed to operate as a pair during assaults on fortified positions, the G1 Vijayanta and the G2 Tactical Assault type. The G1 was effectively a combat engineer mobile suit, designed to clear obstacles. Its right arm replaced the heat rod of a scissor anchor launcher or grappling hook, which aided in scaling mountainous terrains and could also function as an anti-mobile suit weapon due to its strength. Additionally, it carried two obstacle clearing tools, a mine rod launcher housed in the left arm, which functioned similarly to the standard Heat Hawk but featured an explosive line cable, and a removal mace, which is basically a stick with a bomb at the end of it. While primarily designed for clearing obstacles, both tools could also be used in combat. The G2 was designed to provide cover fire for the G1 during assaults. To accomplish this, its left arm was replaced with an integrated gun pack, allowing it to unleash a devastating barrage on enemy positions while the G1 carried out its tasks. For engaging heavier or airborne targets, a 120mm cannon was mounted on its back. When not assigned to assault missions, the G2 could also serve in a reconnaissance role. Around this time in the war, Zeon was pushing its supply lines to their limits, causing widespread shortages among frontline units. In an effort to free up more transport planes for logistical duties, Zeon ordered development of a flight-capable mobile suit that could be deployed without relying on aircraft transport. Zionic initiated the project by modifying a Gouf, equipping it with additional thrusters on the back and replacing its legs with one fitted with thermonuclear rocket engines. Cannons were also added to improve aerodynamics. Given that melee combat was very unlikely in aerial engagements, the right arm was replaced with one identical to the left, and 180mm rocket pods were integrated into the new leg housing. 4 units were constructed, and over 4 weeks, Zionic conducted extensive tests. However, they soon discovered that achieving stable flight was far more challenging than anticipated. While the suit was capable of taking off, it struggled to maintain a constant speed, and had an extremely limited range due to additional weight. Multiple revisions were attempted, including the H4 variant, which featured more aerodynamic armor and more powerful engines. These improvements addressed some of their earlier issues, but the new engines proved difficult to operate. This difficulty tragically led to the death of test pilot Frank Bernard, whose unit spontaneously combusted mid-flight. Following this incident, the flight-capable mobile suit project was officially cancelled. As more Federation mobile suits entered the battlefield, Zeon naturally gathered increasing amounts of intelligence on them. During this process, they discovered the core block system used in the Federation's gun mobile suits. This system transformed the cockpit into a separate unit that functioned as both the core of the mobile suit and an ejection system. In theory, this allowed pilots to continue fighting or swap equipment in the field, providing there were additional parts available for the core block to combine with. Intrigued by this technology, Zionic initiated research to replicate the system, which ultimately led to the development of the MS-07W Gouf combined test type. This experimental Gouf was equipped with a little dot fighter designed to mimic the Federation's core fighter. However, unlike the core fighter, the little dot was incapable of recombining with a mobile suit on the field. Only a single prototype was produced at California base, but it was later captured by Federation forces. Zionic continued producing the Gouf, building unit after unit, steadily replacing the Zaku on Earth. However, one day, Zionic received unexpected orders to slow down production and eventually halt it entirely. The company was caught off guard. What had happened? Why had they been ordered to stop? Zionic soon learned the answer. ZMAT had completed its competing mobile suit, the Dom, and High Command reversed its decision, selecting it as the Zaku's successor instead. Zionic had known that ZMAT was developing a new suit, as they had been ordered multiple times to provide test data and prototype units to their rival. However, they likely did not realize that they were actively helping their competitor in the very contest that they thought they had already won. Zionic may have assumed that they were simply assisting ZMAT with another project, perhaps a future design, but in reality they had unknowingly contributed to their own downfall. ZMAT's Dom outperformed the Gouf in nearly every aspect, except for weight, as the Dom was significantly heavier at 80 metric tons compared to the Gouf 75. However, what truly sealed Zionic's fate was the Dom's lower production costs. This was a devastating blow to Zionic. While production stopped, High Command did not order the decommissioning of existing Goufs. Despite being outclassed by the Dom, the Gouf still had battlefield value. Zionic was permitted to refine and upgrade the units that were already deployed. In response, Zionic gathered pilot feedback, particularly from those who preferred the Gouf's lighter frame over the Dom's bulk. Based on this feedback, they developed an upgraded model, the MS-07B3 Gouf Custom. This new variant was designed specifically for elite Gouf pilots. Key improvements included the finger-mounted machine guns replaced with a standard manipulator, allowing greater weapon versatility. In place for the finger guns, a 3-barrel 35mm machine gun was mounted on the forearm. Its range combat capabilities were further improved by integrating a 75mm Gatling gun onto its shield. This weapon could be detached when it became a hindrance, particularly in close combat. The heat rod was replaced with a heat wire. It's longer but thinner, and it can also be used as a grappling hook. However, it lost its superheated cutting ability, and the heat sword was upgraded to the Type D3. Unlike the original heat sword, which functioned much like the Federation's beam saber, only activated when powered, the Type D3 was a physical blade that could be heated up like the heat hawk. This new model was created likely to simplify production. Additional weapons such as the heat mace and heat knuckles were also seen on some custom units. The Gouf Custom proved to be a major improvement over the standard Gouf. One of the most famous examples was Norris Packard's unit, which destroyed 3 enemy mobile suits, including damaging 2 Gundams single-handedly. Oddly enough, despite previous failures, Zionic restarted development of a flight-capable mobile suit. This may have been due to urgent battlefield requests from frontline units, as supply lines became increasingly strained. Troops needed a self-transporting mobile suit. Using the Gouf Custom as foundation, Zionic developed the MS-07H6 Gouf hover type. This time, they took inspiration from ZMAT's Dom, studying its hovering mobility. Instead of rocket engines, Zionic adopted thermonuclear jet engines based on ZMAT's technology. As a result, the hover type functions similarly to the Dom, using hovering movement to achieve high speeds. With this newfound experience in jet propulsion, Zionic once again attempted true flight, creating the MS-07H8 Gouf flight type. This final iteration was the culmination of Zionic's research, achieving excellent flight performance. However, by this point, Gouf production had fully ceased, meaning that most flight types seen in the field were likely upgraded B3 customs, rather than newly manufactured units. Time has not been kind to the Gouf. Despite its significant contributions, especially during a crucial phase of the war, the Gouf name and design were eventually shelved and largely forgotten. One could argue that Anaheim Electronics' Marasai series served as a spiritual successor, as the design bears some resemblance to the Gouf. However, aside from a few remnant factions and limited special use cases by the Federation, the Gouf saw little continued service. Notably, the Federation repurposed several captured H flight types, The largest post-war deployment of the Gouf came from the South Sea Alliance. The Goufs used by the South Sea Alliance were units left behind during Xi'an's retreat. The Alliance requisitioned and modified them, equipping them with locally designed flight backpack units, enabling them to achieve flight. They also outfitted these Goufs with troop compartments, allowing them to transport infantry to and from the battlefield. Interestingly, these modified Goufs were also offered for sale, as at least one unit was purchased by the Sand Rat Salvagers. This particular unit served as protection while the salvagers scoured the African desert, searching for war relics and salvageable technology from past battles. It wasn't until UC-120 that a true successor to the Gouf was finally created. Mars Xi'an, known for producing mobile suits heavily inspired by past Xi'anic designs, developed the OMS-07 RF Gouf. The RF Gouf retained nearly the same appearance and functionality as the original, but was modernized with contemporary technology, bringing it on par with its UC-120 era counterparts. Most notably, unlike its predecessor though, the RF Gouf was fully capable of operating in space. And so that is the Gouf. The blue boy, as I used to call it. No, I don't. I used to, like as a kid, or yeah, as a kid, I guess, like I wanted to like the Gouf because it was blue and I liked the number 7. But I looked at it, you know, and I was like, this looks cool. But then I look at the hands and I saw the finger, the holes in the fingers. I was like, that looked weird. I still think it looked weird. But yeah, I used to want like the Gouf so much because it was like, you know, the blue was my favorite color before, and number 7 again, favorite number. I like number 7. It's a good number. But yeah, I just never could got my young brain couldn't get past those weird holes on the fingers. Let's do something different here. Usually, this is where I ramble around a bit. I mean, I'm kind of rambling right now, but let's do something different here, and let's engage in some discussion, right? Like, well, why did the Gouf fail, right? Not fail as a suit, but fail the competition, right? Because it functioned fine, you know. It has its niche. It has its uses. But why did it fail? Why did they choose it over the Dom? Well, I think it. I think I said it just now, like in the like early parts of the video. I think it's because it's too specialized. You know, it's a melee suit, right? And not everyone. I know that I'm not when I play GBO 2, but I'm getting better at it. Not everyone is a melee fighter. The Dom, you know, Dom could do both. It can still shoot. I mean, the Gouf can still use, you know, big weapons or range weapons, but they were the same weapons as the Zaku were using, so they're not really an upgrade. But the Dom, you know, the Dom could had access to a new weapon, the giant bazooka, and you could argue that it could still, you know, keep up its performance, I guess, in terms of melee. If you pit a Gouf and a Dom against one another, it'd probably be a big fight. You know, it won't be a one-way fight. You know, the Dom could probably still hold its weight against a you know, the Gouf. So it's a balanced suit, and it doesn't sacrifice one extreme for another extreme. It's right there, balance, like everything should be, as we all learn. And also because the Dom is, like, you know, is a balanced suit, arguably, you don't need to like change your training regime for your pilots. So I mean, aside from the whole high speed thing, I think it's fair to say that if you train on the Zaku too, you can just like jump in a Dom and kind of do what you've already doing before. While, you know, if you jump into a Gouf, again, it being a specialized melee suit or at least close quarter suit, that means you're gonna have to either learn some new tricks or, you know, put extra effort into one while sacrificing the other. And of course, the Dom was just straight up cheaper. Somehow, some way, the Dom was just cheaper. Like, it's bigger, it's faster, and it's got new weapons, but it's cheaper. You know, that's competition for you. You know, when when one side is losing and they're very determined to win again, they will like pull out some kind of magic spell and just make something good. That's competition, baby. It's always good to have competition. You know, Monopoly is bad because when you get Monopoly, you get the people up top, the people that's leading this Monopoly can do whatever they want. They think they can't do wrong, and I think that also kind of plays a part into the Gouf to Zionic here. They thought they couldn't do wrong because hey, we got the Zaku, man. That thing's everywhere. Everyone's buying it, and it's still being bought, and produced. So that the Zaku works. That's just make a Zaku plus, basically. You know. But they did learn their lesson though, because the next time the third generation suit, the Galgoop, was a lot more balanced, which is weird because Zima completely ignored that lesson and made the Gian or something. I don't know. Maybe this is like a lesson in hubris, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they thought, they can't do melee suits. look at these guys. Let's show them. We could do you one better. Well, they obviously didn't because again they get selected. But those two are for another time. We can go look into that another time. I think the Gian, I don't like the Gian that much. I think it looks weird. It's such a big departure from like the Dom and even it's such a big departure from the Dom. I don't know why they went for the Gian, but they did. But I think the Gian video will be interesting because I will like be able to incorporate some kind, some alternate universe stuff. Hey. But that's it for this week's briefing, pilots. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please, if you like what you see, please press that big like button down there and subscribe. Join the fleet, please. We need numbers, more pilots. We're almost there at 1,000. That's like 1% of the 0.1% of the whole population of Earth or something. I don't know. We need that many to invade the Earth, all right? We need numbers. We need big numbers. We're very close to invading the Earth. Come on. For members, I'm actually starting to like what do you call for elite pilot members. I'm starting to post some extra stuff there. Like I'm like it's not a lot, but I'm trying. I'm posting like I guess raw images of like when I do like battle type videos, I draw characters, right? So I'm putting like their PNGs there so you can download it whatever you want. But yeah, aside from that, I got a cemetery. I got a graveyard. My Discord server, you can enjoy that. The Jupiter Colony, you can chat with me. When yeah, you can chat with me. Yeah. I also stream. We do like pilot training sessions, right? I stream games so I can be a better pilot. I stream here and also on Twitch. Your choice, whichever you want. I don't care. Which one ever, I don't mind. As long as numbers goes up, I'm happy. But that's been me, pilots. And my fellow Jupiterian colonists, glory to the Jupiter colony. Take care. Keep on fighting. And do not die.